Hi guys, welcome back to the Lovely Lizard. This is Liz. We are going to decoupage some seashells today and make some ornaments. I've never done this one before, but they seemed really pretty and cute and I've always wanted to make them. So these are just a few seashells that are out of my personal collection, and I'm just drilling holes in the top of the seashell for the ribbon later. So I'm going to do this, and I'm probably going to drill the rest of them off camera. Once the holes are drilled, I'm taking some Americana white paint and just painting the insides of the shells. I do this because any type of blemish or dark spot on the shell is going to show through the decoupage, and we don't want that to ruin our design. So once the shells are dry, I'm going to be using my matte Mod Podge and my vintage rose 2-ply napkins to decoupage. First, I'm going to separate the 2-ply napkins because we only want one layer, which has the layer printed. So I'm going to separate all the napkins and then cut them into 4s because there's 4 patterns on each napkin, which means that I can do 4 different shells. Once all the napkins are cut out, I'm going to go ahead and take my first shell and put a very thin layer of Mod Podge on. I put as little as possible because if you put too much, the napkin's going to soak it up and it's going to start tearing as you're trying to smooth out the wrinkles. So here I'm just making sure that the napkin is fully adhered on the inside of the seashell, making sure there's no lumps or wrinkles. And then I'm actually going to set the seashell aside and give it a few minutes to dry before moving on to the next step, which is removing the rest of the napkin hanging over the edge of the seashell. So once the seashells are pretty much dry, I'm going to take a nail file and go around all the edges of the seashell to remove what's left over of the napkin. This is going to do this quickly and cleanly. I do switch over to a bigger standing block halfway through. I just forgot that I had one. Okay, so at this point, all of our seashells are dry and it's time to add the final layer of Mod Podge. So we're just going to put a really thin coat on top of the dried napkin portion. That way it is nice and sealed. So I'm going to do the rest of that. Make sure to get the edges so that the napkin doesn't peel up later on. I love this process. Don't forget to stick something through your drilled hole, that way the Mod Podge doesn't dry. So if you spray the back of your seashells with a clear spray, like what I'm using here, which is iron lac, it gives the seashell a nice finish and it looks really shiny, like it just came out of the ocean. Once the seashells are dry, I'm taking a Krylon gold spray and I'm spraying it in the bottom of this cup because I don't have regular gold paint. And then I'm just taking a cut in half skewer and dipping it in the paint and going around the outside edges of the seashells. This really finishes them off and creates a really nice clean look. It looked really well with the vintage rose patterns on the napkins as well. So here's what the finished seashell looks like. I really loved how it turned out, and then here is one that I've already put the decorative bead and the ribbon on. I thought it gave a very vintage tea party feel. So I'm just using 5mm satin ribbon and a decorative bead I got out of one of my craft boxes. I thought this was a really nice touch to it. So to get it through the drill hole, I lay the ribbon on top of the hole and use a skewer to push it through. After straightening the ribbon, I did the exact same thing with the bead and used the skewer to help push it through the bead hole. Here I'm just getting the two edges together, and then I'm going to make a simple knot at the end. And here comes my favorite part, the fire! We're just going to burn those edges to make sure that they don't unravel. So here are the final results. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And remember that I am an Amazon affiliate, so any purchases made from the links provided in my bio do go to help support the channel and my art. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.